All right, Coach, if you just want to give us kind of a opening statement on how the first day of practice went.
Well, for all those that were not at practice, I'm talking about our media partners. It was one of those practices. I think it's similar to the first day of school. Everyone's excited about being there, right? Some of the media folks that were invited were excited as well. We were all excited about participating in football again. This month is kind of interesting. I believe on the 7th of March, that's when we shut it down. It was fun to go and just go to practice and practice football. I thought for the most part, kids were excited about it. The coaches were excited about it. A lot of work to do, though, as we know. 44 new participants in spring ball for us. 6 of those happened to be coaches. The rest of them were players that were not here or that came late in the summer that didn't participate in spring football. So that was kind of interesting to watch. But I thought it was a good first day with a lot of energy, and the competition was good. So that's a good thing.
All right, anybody with questions, use the raise hand function. Evan.
Coach, the running game worked real well for you guys last year, despite everybody being young and kind of not getting that full offseason experience. Do you think that it's going to be able to take an even bigger jump this year due to things being a little bit more normal?
We're hoping so. We always have to have balance in our offense, and we had no idea last year of how the young running back crew was going to perform, and it was beyond anyone's expectations for a bunch of guys that had never played in the Pac-12 to do what they accomplished in 4 games. So we need to build on that, obviously, and I think we have a good group of runners. It's kind of fun to watch them to compete. You know, it's a very competitive group, but it is a solid group.
Thank you.
Cam Cox.
Hey, Coach. Hope everything is going well. Good to see you. Thanks for letting those media members back out there again. It's good to be out there again. Had a question. March 12th is coming up. That's kind of the day everything kind of stood still for sports. What do you remember about that day? And then I guess how much has life changed since then in your eyes?
Well, the uncertainty of it all. And obviously our conference had a lot of that, trying to navigate when we were going to start. Then we decided to start 2 or 3 times. The schedules changed. It seemed like every other week. Then we finally got started and we were all excited. And then we got postponed again, our football team, along with some others in our conference. We ended up with 4 football games. So that was something to deal with. But for the most part, I think we're at a place now that we're familiar with what it takes to try to keep each other safe. Is the virus still here? Yeah. But I look at us right now as just not only in Arizona, but just as a country. And I watch people. It's kind of interesting. This is kind of interesting how a year has kind of set in, and some people have just said, "Man, I can't do it anymore." Right? I think we're all excited for the most part with the vaccine. I've gotten both my shots. I'm excited about that. My wife has gotten her shots as well. I'm excited about that. But I think going forward, we still have to be careful. We still have to respect each other. And I know there'll be some conversations both ways, but I just think respecting people's awareness and being around, I think is very important. But we've all kind of grown to deal with it, whether we liked it or not, right? I mean, you poor folks have, first time I've seen you guys in almost since last year at practice. I miss you folks. I miss the dialogue. I miss you guys in this room. I'm still talking to you guys on the screen. I like our conversations. I'm that type of guy. I like the visual contact of people you're talking to. I don't like. I was on the screen before for the worldwide leader when I was talking to people. I like that interaction, and I miss it, and I hope it gets back soon.
Jordan.
Yeah, Coach, we all miss it too. Speaking of missing, obviously, everyone's excited to be back out there. You're excited to be back out there. But is there any player or a few players today that really stood out as just being super antsy to be out there and start proving themselves?
I think some of the guys that have been here for 3 or 4 years, I think they see some potential in this football team. They're excited. I'm excited as well. I mean, you think about this class of guys that came back. They've played a lot of football. I mean, they've got a lot of experience. Now, what we got to do is make sure we put them in position so they can play well as coaches. But they have experience. They have playing experience, and I think that helps. And they've taken the lead on really helping the young guys, which is kind of fun to watch. The older guys are helping the young guys, and so that's been fun for me to see.
Doug Hallett.
Doug, hey man, your family, everybody, you're okay?
Yeah, we're doing fine, Herm.
All right, baby.
Appreciate you asking. This is the first time since you've been there that you've gone onto a spring ball without a projected #1 receiving target. You've had Nikhil, Brandon Ayuk, Frank Darby. How do you see this competition with this group unfolding?
It's going to be fun. For the guys that were able to play last year, I think they've gained a lot of experience. We've got a couple other ones too now that kind of interesting. It's amazing. A calendar year goes by, and some of the guys that weren't able to play last year that were young, just how they walk on the field now and how they compete. I look at Badger, I look at Chad Johnson, Jr., and they're different. They just have a different mindset. They walk on the field with more confidence, and they've got some talent. There's no doubt about that. They got some talent, and it just pops out on the screen when you watch them. So it's going to be fun to watch who kind of takes the lead on this, because you're right. We've been fortunate. We've had back-to-back 2-year receivers, right, getting drafted, and that says a lot. So that room understands that there's some pressure on somebody in that room to play well.
Christian.
Yeah, Coach, this is your 4th spring now with the program. I was wondering, you've mentioned how important it is to you to sort of try to get more guys in with the size and measurables you're really looking for at all positions. How have you seen that grow and develop now in your 4th year?
We talked about that today. We look good coming out of the tunnel. That doesn't win games for you though, but we look different at all positions. I mean, at every single one of them, we look different. We're longer. We got a little bit of some size to us now, and so that's kind of what we were trying to do. And now you can kind of look at it and go, "Oh, okay, that's what it looks like." So it's kind of fun to look at, watch.
Jacob.
Hi, Herm. Are Tyler Johnson and Stephon Wright the only guys who are out for the spring due to injuries? And then just overall with the team, how are you guys doing health-wise?
Yeah, we are. And you mentioned the 2 guys that are out, but the rest of the guys are pretty much healthy and ready to go. So that's a good thing. I think there's 106 total players, I want to say, right now on the roster. So that's a lot of guys. That's count walk-ons and things of that nature. But for the most part, everybody's participating, which is a good thing. We've got 3, it's kind of funny. I've never been in a situation where you actually had 3 deep here. We got 3 deep now. We got a 3rd team that can go in there, like a whole team on both sides of the ball. So that's interesting because that had never taken place since I've been here, but we've kind of built up the roster, the depth of the roster. Now, what helps you is obviously the pandemic year where guys came back. But it's kind of interesting to see now we have 3 groups.
Michelle.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, with so many players coming back, you've built a culture now. What does it say about your program that you have that many guys that want to come back?
Well, it says a lot about the coaches that coach them, really, and that they trust the men that are in their lives. And, there's a lot of conversation with some of them that thought about maybe entering the draft. I mean, potentially, you look at this football team, if some guys do what they anticipate doing, there's some guys here that will have an opportunity to get a chance to play at the next level. And we preach that. I think this could be one of the bigger classes since I've been here that have a chance to move on. I'm not going to mention who they are. I'm going to put pressure on players. I think you guys know who they are, but it's a handful of guys. It's more than 2 or 3. You know, so that's kind of, it makes it exciting.
Michael.
Yeah, Coach, great to see you again. When you talk about obviously competition and depth, but I mean defensively, like you said, with the experience coming back, you've always talked about having to score at least 30 points. But this is a defense that, I mean, I know it's early, but looks like it can definitely hold the teams below that 30 mark. I mean, just the first day out there, you're pretty excited to see where the defense is at.
Yeah, that would be great. But I've already told Zach, hey, you got to score. College football, you have to score. You know, I lived my whole life, whether I was playing in Philadelphia and, you know, and holding people to 10 points, 12 points, and in Tampa, and in New York, and in Kansas City. You got to score. You just do. And I think college football allows you to do that. Now, you have to have people in place that will help you do that. Quarterback can't do it alone. And it's the skilled people. And it starts up front. When you have an offensive line that can protect the quarterback, but also run the ball, you have a chance to score points. And we got to score. You want to be in the high, you know, obviously you want to be in the high 30s. If you can get to 40, you got a chance to win a lot of games. Now, I'm not saying that's the number, but if you look at the teams that score in that range, low 40s, right in there, I would never say that. It's hard for me even to convince myself to say it. But I look at some of those teams now in college football that, quote, have these great players on defense, and they're in games and it's 50 to 35. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just think you got to be able to score the ball.
Last couple of questions, Christian.
Yeah, Coach, speaking of that, you talked last year about how the passing game sort of didn't maybe get as many opportunities to develop as you wanted to. Is there anything you're emphasizing in the spring to try to set your passing game up for that with a full schedule coming this year?
Well, the development of the young guys, and then, you know, if you look at our games, our first 2 games, we kind of passed it a little bit. Didn't do a good enough job of explosive plays. But then the last 2 games, we got a lead and we ran the ball. So that's kind of how to, you know, you want to win the football game. You want to do it any way you can. But I do believe this, when you look at us play, I think the thing I stress always to offense is you have to have positive yards on first down. Because if you can stay ahead of the chains, you'll have the ability to have plays. And the more you have plays, the more you get into your offense. And we've got people that can score the ball when they get it in their hand, whether it's the runners or whether it's some receivers. So the key is, what do you do on first down? Can you move the ball? Can you get into 2nd and 5 or less? And if you can do that, you're going to get, you know, 10, 12 plays, and hopefully in between that, you get an explosive play, and now you got a chance to score points.
2 more questions, Cam.
Coach, just show those kids the 80s tape from the Eagles back in the day, the defensive tape, if you need to. Coach, got a broad football question for you. The Valley's kind of waiting on Larry Fitzgerald to make his decision whether or not to come back or not. Do you have a Larry Fitzgerald story? And since your time here, what have you found out that he means to this Valley and professional football?
Oh, he's part of the community, and his ability to really reach all members of this community. I mean, he's a beloved player. He's a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. But I think what he does on the offseason, he's touched a lot of people in this community. He has made this his home. I can remember Larry when he was the ball boy with the Vikings, right? I mean, I go that far back with him. And so it's fun to watch him. He's in an offense that he can still play if he elects to come back. I mean, he's not going to play as much as he played before, but he's in a position where he can catch the ball in big moments, and he was able to do that again this year. So, you know, that's up to Larry. The hardest thing for those guys when you get to where Larry's at right now, it's to get yourself ready to play. It's not playing, but it's preparing to play. You know, and when you get older, that's tougher. And he's a professional. You know, one thing I know about Larry, if he's going to play, he wants to play at a certain level. He doesn't want to watch himself on tape being just a guy hanging around. I mean, he's not built that way. So it'll be interesting what decision he makes.
Last
Thanks,
question.
Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, last question.
Herm, I have two questions. One is Jaden Daniels and expectations this year. And second is, you looked at Donovan West at center today and just kind of wanted your thoughts about the offensive line.
Well, we think his career, you know, that he has a chance to play after this, and that's probably the position he's going to play. You know, he came in here as a freshman and started all since he's been here. Just felt like we needed his presence there. So he's starting there, and I think he'll do a fine job. Jayden, obviously, he's gotten bigger. Everybody always asks about that. He has, but more than that, he's become really a leader. And it's taken time, you know. You guys know Jayden, and he's not one of those guys that says a whole lot, but he's starting to lead. He's starting to lead in the right way, and you know, it's funny because I see him all the time. He's in my office every day. It's just the conversations we're having. I'm proud of him. What he's done in the offseason with the players, and now the first day of practice, you can just tell he's the guy. He's the quarterback, and everybody gets it. And he's going to say something to players when he has to say it, and they go on his lead. So that's fun to watch.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe, and hopefully sooner or later, all you guys get to come to practice. Hey, Doug, you're in my prayers, brother.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, baby. Oh, hey, I didn't know this guy was following
We're
me.
gonna score a lot of points. We're gonna score
So I
points.
tell you what, it's remarkable. That's all I'm gonna say. I've been with him now for 2 years. It's remarkable. It just is. He has more assistants, GAs. He got more coaches than I think I'm in the NFL again. Goodness gracious. Go ahead.
Coach, if you just want to start us with an opening statement on the first day of practice, and then everybody else raise your hand for questions.
Yeah, it was a fun day, you know, getting out there again, seeing the energy, the guys are pumped up. And the big thing you see coming off that first year, whatever that, you know, ended up looking like, now the guys know the operation. They know the process, they know what it takes, they know what to expect in practice. And so getting out here for the first day, it was much more smooth. The guys know what to do. We can transition quickly. And there's not as much thinking, you know, definitely last spring, we get into the first couple of practices of spring. I mean, guys are like, what's going on? All these new signals and stuff. And now it's nice having that year under our belt. Now we can really dive into the ins and the outs of the X's and O's and what we're doing on each play and adjustments and things like that. So now we're able to move at a better pace. But it was fun being out there. The guys were excited. It was good energy, and I thought the operation was a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Coach, you can be real with us here. What are you doing offensively that has Coach Herm acted like that?
He's always got something. You gotta be ready. It's gotta be ready. But no, it's, you know, we've got some weapons on offense that we're excited about. Obviously our number one goal is to score points, and we know that. And we want to score as many. We're not gonna put a number on it or anything like that. We want to score as many points as we can during a game. And so, you know, it's fun, again, getting out there against our defense, you know, having a little bit of that, you know, O versus D, some of that competitive nature and feeling that again. And again, our guys are excited. Our coaches are excited. And you know, the future is bright for sure.
Michael.
Yeah, Coach, good to see you again. I was asking Coach Edwards. I mean, obviously offensively, I know he says you got to put up points. You want to put up points. You feel like you can, but preparing against his defense, I mean, I know it's just the first day, but with a lot of them coming back, how much do you think that's going to benefit your offense?
It will, for sure. It's a challenge, you know, and they always say, you know, iron sharpens iron, and we've got some skilled guys on offense, and they've got some really skilled guys on defense. And, you know, the first few days when you're in helmets, you're trying to get a little bit of that, you know, competitiveness, but being smart, you know, as well. And then once the pads get on, now it gets real competitive. And so that'll be fun to watch those guys, through install 3 and install 4 and moving through spring ball. But yeah, our defense is really good, and it's nice to be able to have to deal with not only the scheme that Coach Pierce and Marvin Lewis and those guys are putting together, but from a one-on-one standpoint, the battles that each of our guys are having to face because of the talent levels, it makes us a lot better.
Chris Cartman.
Zach, just wanted your thoughts on Jaden Daniels coming into year 2 working with you, and there's going to be a lot of expectations, obviously nationally, associated with that.
Sure. Yeah, there's high expectations on our end and Jaden's end too, and that's what we want. I think going back to having a year under his belt, knowing what to expect in the operation and the plays, and now going through it from multiple installs, I think he's going to be able to grow a lot, this off season, through spring, through the summer, and then into fall camp. So there's a lot of time to be able to develop and, watch a lot of film and critique these practices and, get back to the fundamentals of things, and there's the stance, your footwork, and the balance, and all that stuff that goes into making a great quarterback. And, obviously he's very athletic, and he's going to make plays, and he's going to do things that there's no way I can coach. And then there are those things we need to clean up and just becoming a better pocket passer. But like Coach said too, he's doing a great job in the off season with his leadership and what he's doing with the guys, and just his being more intentional, going out to practice and making things game-like and trying to develop more instead of just, instead of cruising at times. So he's doing a lot better job with the leadership.
Jordan.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. So Herm mentioned, guys like Chad Johnson Jr. seem to walk on with a little bit of extra confidence so far today. I know it's still early, but what are you expecting from guys like Chad Johnson Jr. in spring this year?
Yeah, we expect them to step up and become guys, and be factors in our offense. Elijah Badger has a ton of talent. We've got a lot of guys on offense that have a ton of talent, and unfortunately we're only able to see, certain guys in 4 games. You guys have been able to see them in practices more than anything, but we expect a lot out of them. We expect all of our guys. Everybody's looking to make an impact, and that's the fun part of spring. We're looking for who knows what's going on, number one, and can play confidently because they're prepared, and then who's going to go out there and make those plays. So it's not just a particular guy or two. I mean, really, we're looking for all those guys, whether it's the starters or the backups or the walk-ons. I mean, everybody's got to go out with the mindset that I'm going to go out there and make plays.
Christian.
Yeah, Coach, I asked Coach Herm about this, but last year you ran the ball so effectively and you did it a lot, often because sort of the game situation. But Herm mentioned he really wants to build out the passing game some more, especially with Jayden in his 3rd year. How do you sort of see that coming to fruition throughout this spring?
Well, we've got a long ways to go, with it just being practice 1 and getting those reps, that we need. And with the 4 games that we had, each game's different. So sometimes it's going to take us running the football a ton to win the game. Sometimes it's going to take us throwing the football to win the game. Sometimes it's going to be that balance, that mixture, and keeping a team off balance. And so it's trying to find, the right thing for each game. Now, going into installs and going into the off season with, you have a plan going through these practices. We want to be intentional with our pass game and develop and get more and more used to these concepts and how we can be more efficient and better with our protections. It's all 11 players. So from Jayden's aspect and what we can do from the quarterback position, we're working on those things, whether it's technique, footwork, drops, or just whether, getting our eyes right in the progression. Can we make signal adjustments? That type of stuff. And then, each position is contributing to that. So our wide receivers are hungry to go make plays. And obviously it was a limited opportunities in games. So they're all hungry.
Jesse.
Hey, Zach, I just wondered how the receivers are looking and just what are you seeing in their growth? I mean, it's just been 1 practice, but yeah, I just wanted to know what you've seen from them and what you expect from them this year.
I think they're all feeling, at least the guys that have been here, are feeling more comfortable about what's going on, so they can play faster and just go out there and do their thing. They can line up a lot quicker. Obviously, there's a lot of young talent in that room, and there's going to be good competition, and whether it's outside guys or inside guys, we're trying to figure out who our best fit is, at certain positions, who can be those, versatile guys and maybe play both, and then how these practices go early on and who takes over as the guy that's done the work to be able to go out there and know what he's doing and be able to play fast. But the expectations in that room is high. And like I said, they're hungry to get out there and do that and give them these opportunities in these 15 practices.
Evan.
Coach, you were able to get a couple former 4-star athletes to transfer over on the offensive side of the ball to ASU, and Jayden and Tristan. Were you able to get a good look at them today? And regardless, what do you expect from them at Arizona State?
Going back, we'll watch the film here in a second. So you see a few things on the field. Obviously I'm working a little bit more with the quarterbacks, and I'm trying to see the full picture there too. But we'll go back and watch the film. I know Jalen's got a ton of ability. He's got good athleticism. He's good in the pass game. We're going to challenge him physically, and see how tough he is, through this process. And, the tight end position, getting the pads on will help, in the run game and blocking and all that stuff. And then, Tristan, I'll see on film. There's a lot of action going on, and but he's got good athleticism, and I think our O-line can be very athletic this year. And like Coach was saying too, we've got more depth than we've ever had. Trying to put that all together, and we're losing our center, and now if we move, whoever we're moving down there and how those pieces fit, we're going to take a look early in these first few practices and see what the best fit is, and then really push those backups, to push the starters.
Chris Cartman.
Zach, can you just take us into the conversations that you guys had in looking at Donovan as a center, and any dialogue that you've had with him about that?
Yeah, I guess the conversations are, getting our best guys on the field, and losing Cade, this year. And the center position is a big one. So we wanted a guy that could take control, be a leader, and make decisions. And we felt like Donovan would fit that, really well. The guys look to him as a leader, and I think having him there, puts him in that role where he's got to as well. So I think it's a good fit for Donovan. I think that might be the position where he ends up having the best chance to play in the NFL too, to be honest. And so having those opportunities to play guard, to play center, gives him more versatility as well, even at the next level. So I think that's intriguing to Donovan. But ultimately, if we need to make adjustments and using that second tier of guys too, to see who can play center, and that's a big position. We want to make sure that we've got good stability there and good depth.
So are you guys just exploring this, or do you think this is permanent?
That's to be determined.
Christian.
Yeah, Coach, we talked a lot sort of about the passing game, but with how successful the run game was, and I guess the continued development of the offensive line, how do you sort of hope to carry forward the success of the running game to this year, especially when you have guys like Chip and Rashad coming back, and the conference has a whole 4 games of film on them now?
Yeah, but that's always an emphasis. Between the run game, the pass game, the screen game, your play action stuff off the run game. And that's the nice thing about spring ball. You got to set it up the way you want it as a coaching staff, and be able to say, all right, here's what we want to see, and the emphasis is on all of it. It's not just, oh, we're just going to work the pass game. I mean, yeah, we're going to work all of it. We're going to work the run game. We're going to work our inside zone, outside zone, our gap schemes, and get to all that stuff, and get everybody on the same page, be able to do it out of different formations. Same thing with the pass game, work our different pass protections, if we want to make adjustments to those, movement stuff. I mean, it's all part of spring ball. So we feel really good about the athletes that we have. And now it's finding the best schemes to put them in space and create points, but at the end of the day, it's really nice having Chip. It's really nice having Rashad, Daniel, and those backs do a really good job, and they work hard. And I think what the what the team sees from those guys is their leadership, how hard they're going to work, how much they care about football, and how much they care about, working in practice. Because their preparation is phenomenal.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Coach.
Jayden will be here in a little bit. All right, we'll just go straight to questions. So raise your hand if you have questions. Jayden, Chris?
Jayden, can you just talk about this continued process of getting bigger, stronger, gaining weight? And your mom was telling everybody who would listen that you're up over 190 pounds now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like for me to gain weight is kind of genetics also, but just being in the weight room, working out with Coach Joe and his staff, just eating the right things, putting the right things in my body to continue to gain weight and get bigger, stronger, faster.
Is it accurate that you're 190-ish now?
Yeah, it's very accurate.
Michael?
Yeah, Jayden, I know it's the first day, but I mean, working with these receivers, finally getting back out on the field, spring ball, more of a sense of normalcy. How did it feel to you guys?
I feel great getting back out there. We had a couple drops here and there, but that's to come with the first day of spring ball. First day of practice, just getting back used to each other. We've been working hard these couple weeks that we've been out here since coming back off the season. So we're ready.
Christian?
Yeah, Jayden, this is obviously a huge year for you. What are your personal goals, and then what do you hope to carry the team to this year?
Yeah, I mean, my first personal goal, is to leave here. Whenever I do, I just want to win a Pac-12 championship, win a Rose Bowl. That's the main goal that I came in here wanting to do. And I know if I accomplish those things and all the other individual accolades will come with it, but my main goal here is just win a Pac-12 championship, win a Rose Bowl.
Michelle?
Hey, Jayden, obviously this is like a huge year and there's really expectations on this program that haven't been there in a while. How much additional pressure is that for you guys? And do you like kind of being, I hate to say that a team people are targeting as opposed to being the hunter?
I mean, we know what we're capable of doing. We know what we have. We have all starters returning back on defense. I say we have a 10 coming back on offense. So, we have experience. So I can see why people will try to target us instead of us being hunted. But we're ready for the challenge and we're just ready to go back out there. And today was a step one towards what we want to accomplish.
Hunter?
Hi, Jayden. Both Herm and Zach mentioned how impressed they were with Chad Johnson Jr. and with Elijah Badger. Can you talk about what you've seen from them so far?
Yeah, I mean, those two guys, the circumstance with Elijah. Also, Chad didn't really get to play last year, redshirting, and sat back and just watched. I feel like those guys are motivated, especially Elijah, dealing with what he had to deal with. He has to prove a lot of people wrong, has to prove himself right. So I feel like they're both going out there with a chip on their shoulder each and every day. If it comes to workouts, if it comes to, just throwing sessions that we have, and now practice, you can see it each and every day.
Jacob?
Jayden, in addition to the physical growth that you've been able to do, Herm had mentioned that one of the things that he was most impressed with was your growth as a leader within the team and just your ability to communicate. What kind of responsibility do you feel as you enter your third year with the team to step up in that kind of a way, and how have you done that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's my third year. I say that this is my team. I mean that in the most humble way. But, the quarterback, I've been in the program for 3 years. So I'm kind of like a veteran guy now, which is crazy to say. But, everybody's going to listen to me. They're going to look at me. If I'm doing the wrong things, then they're going to feel it's okay for them to do the wrong thing. So I got to lead by example. When I need to talk, when I step up and talk, that's when I do it. But other than that, just leading by example and other guys following.
Chris?
Yeah, Jayden, just we saw Donovan West at center today. One of your kind of thoughts and just working with him and just how you see the line overall shaping up right now.
I mean, the O-line looked good today. Donovan at center, we both came in at the same time, so we naturally had that chemistry. I like how the O-line is looking right now. It's a lot of guys, a lot of good camaraderie there. A lot of guys that hang out with each other on the daily. But also learning how to communicate better between O-line, me, the running back, so we can all be on the same page.
Jesse.
Hey, Jayden, just overall, how do you think the wide receivers look?
I mean, overall, I feel like the receivers, they're getting their legs back. I mean, they look decent. We could improve on a lot of things, a couple drops. A couple guys, that had off days, didn't have the days that they wanted for the first day, but it's a process. Trying to get back in shape. That's the main thing. Trying to get back in football shape. So it's gonna take a while, but that's just the process we got to take.
Doug Howlett.
Hi, Jaden. Just piggybacking off all the receiver question, how challenging was it last year to work, once Frank got hurt, to work with a young group and just kind of having to develop that chemistry during COVID stops and also just developing it under fire during games?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's very challenging. We didn't get the full time that we really had the year prior with the full 12 games. So the guys only had 4 games, only had a couple weeks of practice for their throwing in fire, didn't have really the preseason games. So they were thrown into the Fire USC game. And I felt like it was just a lot of going on, trying to learn a new offense, trying to get into college football, get into the routine of things. But I feel like those guys improved. They're more experienced this year, so I'm excited to see what they got to do.
Jacob.
You mentioned the challenge of learning a new offense and kind of being in a new system for the first year. So I'm curious what it's like now that you're in your second year with Zach, and just what you think the options are with his offense and how it kind of opens up now that you're more familiar with it.
Yeah, I mean, second year, there's a lot of things the coach has asked out of us, especially the quarterback room, managing the offense, the different operations. So I feel like that's way more smoother for me personally and for the other quarterbacks that have been in the offense that know the system now. I feel like we're just picking up on a lot of things that this time last year that we didn't really pick up on, that we had time struggling with, but also just going through it, just building that relationship with Coach Hill. Me personally, just didn't really have the full year, like I said, with him, but so we're building a relationship now. We have a full year now.
Christian.
Yeah, Jane, I was curious, you were sort of one of the first big Southern California recruits recently to really start this wave heading to ASU. And now it seems like everywhere you look, there's guys from SoCal who are highly rated guys, very highly regarded nationally. How have you seen ASU, I guess, sort of grow in the eyes of players from Southern California?
I mean, that's all Antonio Pierce, Chris Hawkins, Prentice, Chris Claiborne, that's all them. It started back with me when they recruited me, but now they're just going to keep growing. They do a good job of recruiting. All those guys are from Southern California, so it makes it kind of easy. We're not too far. We're not too far from home. We're not too close. So why not come out here?
Anybody else? All right. Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaden.
Take care. We'll see you Friday.